Hi, everyone. Welcome to the final workshop of a series of workshops and webinars conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming strategic case study examinations happening in February 2024. My name is Nick, and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for SCS at TCS. So let's look at the session plan. So first things first, I will be highlighting what you need to do to maintain a positive attitude before the exam. So as you know, your exam is just 4 to 6 days away. So in these days, you need to feel confident about your skill set, and you need to you need to have a positive attitude or create a positive attitude, and the same level of positivity needs to be replicated when attempting your real exam as well. So you need to know what to do to maintain a high level of confidence at your exam, because as per the CIMA examiner, if you're confident, chances of you passing is extremely high. So in the upcoming days, you should not feel down or negative. Instead, by adhering to the guidelines which I provide right now, you'd be in a position to have a positive mindset. If so, it's easier for you to come up with better answers than being in a position to pass the SCS exam. And in the second part of today's workshop, I will be opening up for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions or concerns, last minute concerns, you can raise them. Okay, so what are you supposed to do to maintain a high level of positivity or achieve a high level of confidence on the exam day? So before the exam, before I talk about what you need to do during the exam or on the day of the exam, I'll first talk about what you need to do before the exam in the upcoming 4 to 5 days. So it's better to, let's assume you are attempting your, exam on Wednesday. If that is the case, you have to stop all work by Monday night. You have to relax on Tuesday, because it's better to not do anything, because the SCS exam is a highly practical examination. So and the examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So in a real life corporate environment, you cannot predict the type of questions which will be thrown at you. So in such a scenario, it's better to be open-minded. So to achieve the required level of open-mindedness, it's of utmost importance that you stop all work a day prior to your exam. So by now, you should have attempted all 5 mock exams. And, in these days, I do not want you to, go through various different study material. Instead, solely focus on your answer plans. Go through your answer plans over and over. If you feel that you're not too comfortable with a certain area, then keep redeveloping the answer plans until you are in a position to develop answer plans which are closely aligned with the answer plans which we have provided. So that's the only type of revision you need to be focused on in these days. I do not want you to attempt mock exams or go through revision cards and whatnot, because it's going to be a waste of time. We have developed 5 mocks covering the entire syllabus. So if you keep going through these answer plans over and over, it's as if you are covering the entire syllabus over and over, at the same time working on your answer structures, answer plans, and at the same time significantly understanding how to improve your application skills. Because as I've mentioned throughout the webinar series as well as the workshop series which we have conducted, I've mentioned that you need to consider the information presented in each and every scenario when developing your answers. You need to cover all the points. So when marking your answers, marking your answer scripts, what I've encountered is, although most of the points are covered within your answers, sometimes there's a tendency to miss out 2 or 3 points which appear within the scenario. So when developing your answers, you need to consider all relevant information, or else you are not doing your job properly. So it's as if you are receiving an email from your CFO or some type of a director. So when responding to your superior, you need to cover all the elements or all type of relevant information covered within each and every scenario. So the best way to overcome the shortcomings, or in other terms, the best way to improve your application skills is by referring to answer plans. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want, you can focus on redeveloping answer plans in the upcoming days, However, a day before the exam, you have to stop all your work. Why am I asking you to do it? Because it's of utmost importance that you rest your mind and body. This is a highly competitive examination. So it's better to rest your mind and body. So it's as if you are walking into office on a Monday and opening your email and responding to your emails. So that's the same type of mindset which you need to have on the day of the exam. Because for instance, assuming that you were partying or you were studying till late on Sunday, if that is the case, you cannot function properly at office on Monday. So before the exam, a day before the exam, if you are up until late, if you are stressed out, if you are trying to do too much, if you are attempting mock exams, it will reflect on the answers you provide, because you are not in the best type of mindset. So to be in a position to come up with the best type of evaluations and provide the best type of recommendations, you need to rest your mind and body. So that's exactly why I'm asking you guys to stop all work a day prior to the exam. And do not refer to any study material, mocks, or answer plans, because if you do, you'd remember what was covered in the mock exam. And when developing answers, you'd always think in terms of the mock which you saw right before the exam. So that's not being open-minded. Instead, that's being narrow-minded. So if you're narrow-minded, you're not in a position to successfully do your job as a senior finance manager. So as I mentioned earlier, your main priority should be to provide high quality evaluations as well as recommendations. So if you're narrow-minded, if you're thinking about a mock which you have done, right before the exam, or which you had gone through right before the exam, then you are not being open-minded. So in order to avoid these shortcomings, do not refer to any study material, mocks, or answer plans, especially on the day of the exam. And it's better not to refer to anything a day before the exam as well. If you really feel that you still need to refer to the answer plans, please stop all your work at least by the evening of the previous day. Do not go late until the night and try to refer to different type of study material. Instead, it's better to relax a day before your exam. And on the day of the exam, think that you are the senior finance manager at Robobryce, because as I mentioned earlier, if you think you are if you think that you are actually working for this company, you are in a position to come up with better evaluations. Because let's assume you are working for Robobryce and you are playing the role of an SFM, and when responding or reporting to the CFO, you try to give your best. If not, you're not achieving your job, the responsibilities which are highlighted within the job description. And if that is the case, you'd get low gradings at your performance evaluation. If you get low gradings, you might end up losing the job. So nobody wants to lose the job, especially when someone is at the highest level of the organization, when someone is reporting directly to board members. Your job is to, your mindset should be to do your job properly, so that one fine day you yourself will become the CFO of the company, some other board member, or ultimately the CEO of the company. So if you have to become a board member, you have to do your job properly right now. So that's exactly why I'm saying that it's better to think in a real sense that you are actually the senior finance manager at Robobryce. If so, you'd come up with the best type of evaluations, you'd provide the best type of recommendations, and if so, you'd gain extremely good marks at your SCS exam. And it's actually normal for students to feel negative on the day of the exam, as well as a couple of days before the exam. You might be feeling some type of unease, some type of anxiety right now. That's normal. Me as a student, felt it before each exam which I faced up until the management level. I can remember throwing up on the day of the exam before I walked into the examination hall. So that's the type of stress I was under until the management level. But beyond that level, I totally changed my approach, where I did not wait until the last moment to start my preparations, where I did not refer to any study material a day before the exam when I was attempting my strategic level papers. We did not have a separate case study as per what we are seeing right now. Instead, we had two different sections, Section A and Section B. Section A was highly theoretical. Section B was focused on a case study. So that's what we had. And right after the SCS exam, we had a separate case study, a separate case study examination, an additional case study examination at the very end. So, from the management level, I stopped panicking before the examination. I stopped, focusing on preparations at the last moment. Instead, I adopted a relaxed attitude, a relaxed mindset, and this enabled me to gain extremely good marks at the strategic level as well as the top CIMA examination. You don't have top CIMA anymore, but we had an additional examination which was known as top CIMA those days. So it's normal for you to feel negative. However, whenever you feel negative, always remember that you have done your homework and constantly remind yourself that you just need 80 marks to pass. So you can end up losing some marks. There's absolutely no issue with that. You're not getting any grades. You're only getting a pass or a fail. In an academic qualification, you get a distinction, merit, or whatever. But in this exam, that is not the case. You just need to get 80 or more. So in such an environment, there's absolutely no point of thinking about getting extremely good marks. Or, whenever you are feeling stressed, always remind yourself you just need 80 to pass. You can end up losing out marks. Even if that is the case, you'd end up passing the examination. And it's, as I mentioned earlier, you have to be open-minded. If not, you are not poised to carry out your responsibilities in the most effective manner. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do before the exam. And on the day of the exam, how are you, or what do you need to do to maintain a positive attitude or a high level of confidence when attempting your real exam? So just like what you had practiced when attempting the 5 mocks, you have to stick to the same exam technique routine. So I've highlighted this in the third webinar. I said that 5 minutes should be allocated towards reading the scenario and understanding the requirements. And after doing that, you need to allocate something like 25 to 30 minutes to develop answer plans for each and every subtask. And once you're done with it, the remaining 25 minutes should be allocated towards expanding your answer plan. So if you had practiced this when attempting the mock exams, you can easily get it right at your real exam. But if you're yet to check it out, then all the best to you. You can stick to your own methodology as well. However, the best practice, we have highlighted the best practices. So if you had stuck to these best practices, or if you had practiced these answering techniques, then simply replicate a similar methodology at your real examination. So if you had attempted the 5 mock exams under exam conditions, you would have encountered the type of exam stress which I was talking about previously. You would have encountered shortcomings such as for instance, I was having a chat with a student, who was part of the MCS group last 2 days back, and the student said that she had missed on clicking or checking out the reference material for one of the tasks. So I asked her whether she attempted any mock exams before the exam, and she said no. So she would have encountered this problem of missing out on the reference material if she attempted the 5 mock exams. So when attempting the 5 mock exams under exam conditions, you would have encountered all different types of shortcomings, because if you miss out the reference material, there's absolutely no way that you'd pass the exam. I didn't tell that to that student. I was trying to, help her make up her mind. But, if when attempting each mock exam, if you had faced these shortcomings, different types of shortcomings, you are in a position to avoid all these shortcomings at your real exam. So if you had attempted the 5 mocks under exam conditions, you should be really happy about yourself, because your exams performance is going to be extremely better than what you encountered when attempting each of your mock exam. So stick to the exam technique routine. If so, you are spending some time to read through and understand what's highlighted within each scenario. You are spending some time to plan out your answer rather than straight away jumping into typing out the fully fledged answer. You are spending some time to think, which is better. And after you had come up with an answer plan or an answer structure, when it comes to expanding your answer or coming up with a fully fledged answer, you are not supposed to think. Instead, you know what to write, so your life becomes easy. So you'd never run out of time. You'd come up with high quality answers. If that is the case, you'd pass the SCS exam comfortably. And at the exam, there will be certain subtasks which will be thrown at you, especially in tasks 1 and 2, with the intention of throwing you off your exam strategy. So this is done purposely by the CIMA examiner. So in each variant, I've seen, especially in tasks 1 or 2, a certain subtask is thrown at you, which was not tested earlier or which appears to be extremely hard. So when a student encounters this type of a subtask, what happens is the student ends up panicking. And when you panic, you cannot think straight. When you panic, it leads to something called brain freeze. Brain freeze is a scenario where you cannot think anything. So you're stuck in one place. And if that is the case, you'd run out of time, because if you experience brain freeze and if you do not come out of it, you'd run out of time. And once you run out of time, let's assume that this certain subtask appeared in task number 1 and you ran out of time because of it. You panicked and you ran out of time. So if that is the case, this negativity will affect you in tasks 2 and 3. So even though you know the answers for tasks 2 and 3, since you were stressed in task 1, you'd take forward the stress, and because of that, you'd end up failing the exam. So this is done with the intention of creating a negative attitude during the exam. So do not fall into this trap. If you are feeling stressed, if you encounter a certain subtask which makes no sense, still keep moving forward, because as the senior finance manager at if you're working at office, if you feel stressed, you can walk out of your cubicle, you can drink some water, have a chat with one of your colleagues. If you're clueless about a certain area, you can ask your superior about it. You can simply call your CFO and ask what this requirement is about, or you can ask one of your colleagues or mentors, or you can if you are into smoking, you can smoke a cigarette to calm your nerves. All these things can be done at a real corporate setting, but you cannot do these things at this exam. So you need to take action, thereby with the intention of maintaining this negativity or getting out of this negativity. So what are you supposed to do to achieve what I'm talking about? You need to drink some water. I do not know whether you can drink water if you are attempting the exam at home. I do not think so. So it's better to ask the invigilator before you start the examination as to whether you can have a water bottle. But I know for a fact that at the if you're attempting the exam at an exam center, you have the option of taking a water bottle. So it's better to drink some water, keep yourself hydrated, because water consists of oxygen, and this additional oxygen will be beneficial when it comes to overcoming brain freeze. And still, if you're feeling stressed, close your eyes and breathe slowly for 2 minutes. So you might think that you are wasting time if you do this. I'm asking you to focus on your breathing for 2 minutes, and you might think that you are wasting time, which is not the case, because it's better to focus on your breathing so that you reset your brain. So how are you supposed to reset why am I asking you to reset your brain? Because when developing answers, it's better if you utilize your prefrontal cortex, because you are supposed to utilize the prefrontal cortex when being involved with rational decision making. So rational decision making has nothing to do with emotions. Instead, you are thinking about the pros and cons and coming up with the best type of evaluation, or providing well justified arguments or recommendations. So if in order to do that, you need to utilize your prefrontal cortex. However, whenever an individual, a human being is stressed, the prefrontal cortex stops working. Instead, a small part of our brain, which is known as the amygdala, which gives the flight or fight response, come into play. So when that occurs, what happens is you are not thinking straight. Instead, you are panicking, and out of panic, you are trying to come up with an answer quickly. And as you know, quick answers are not the best type of answers. So that's exactly why I'm saying that you are supposed to spend something like 25 to 30 minutes to develop an answer plan, or to you are supposed to spend a considerable amount of time to think and plan out your answer. So, you know, if the amygdala is in play, you are not in a position to think. Even if you're trying to think, you'd come up with answers which are not well thought out. So it's best to, if you panic or if you're feeling some type of stress, it's best to switch off your amygdala. And the only way to switch off your amygdala is to focus on your breathing. That's how our brains are meant to function. So if you want to come up with the best type of answers, you have to utilize your prefrontal cortex. And if the amygdala kicks in, you need to switch it off. There's only one way to do it. That's by focusing on your breathing. So close your eyes, focus on your breathing. Inhale from your nose, exhale from your mouth. So focus on the process involved, inhaling and exhaling. If you do it for 2 minutes, it's as if you had pressed the reset button of your brain, and things will be extremely easy for you from that moment onwards. So do this if you're feeling stressed at your exam. And on top of that, you can also, as I mentioned earlier, remind yourself that you have done your homework. You can only do this if you had done your homework. So if you had attempted the 5 mock exams under exam conditions, if you had referred to the answer plans, if you had redeveloped the answer plans, simply tell yourself that you have done your work. Just because there's a certain subtask which you are clueless about the answer, do not get faced by it. Keep moving forward, because if you are to be successful as a senior finance manager, you should not crumble under pressure. Instead, you have to keep moving forward. So the examiner is trying to, test your knowledge, which you have learned in E3, P3, and F3. In addition to that, the examiner is trying to figure out whether you are capable, at the same time, whether you deserve to become a management accountant, because a management accountant is an individual who'd work under stress, who won't crumble under stress. Instead, do something to move ahead of stress and be successful when providing recommendations, when providing evaluations. And one fine day, you might start running your own business, and in your own business, you'd be the managing director, CEO. When running your own business, whenever you face encounter any type of issues or negativities, you have to keep moving forward, rather than crumbling under pressure. So that's what the CIMA examiner is trying to understand via this exam. The examiner is trying to understand whether you have the knowledge as well as the capability to keep moving forward, even when faced with extreme levels of stress or negativity. So remind yourself that you have done your homework, and remind yourself that you just need 80 marks to pass. You can end up losing a certain amount of marks. Even if you lose all these marks, if you simply get 80, you'd pass your SCS exam, and you can say goodbye to CIMA once and for all. Okay. And at the exam, always make sure to give your best shot. Because that's exactly why I said that you need to think that you are the senior finance manager of Robobryce. If that is the case, you'd always give your best shot. And it's of utmost importance that you be open-minded. So to achieve this type of open-mindedness, I said that you're not supposed to refer to any study material a day prior to the exam, because at the exam, the type of questions will highlight some type of opportunity the company is trying to exploit at the moment, or some type of an issue the company is trying to fix at the moment. So you cannot predict the type of issues or opportunities which will be highlighted within each scenario. We have covered this element within the mock exams solely with the intention of ensuring that you understand how scenarios will be tested and how theoretical elements will be tested at your exam. However, no provider out there can predict the exact type of questions which will be thrown at you, or the exact type of information which will be included within each scenario. So knowing this, it's better not to memorize the mock exams, the suggested answers and whatnot. Instead, your intention should be to understand the logic behind each answer, how the scenarios information had been utilized fully when developing the answers. And if you get this logic, it's just a matter of developing similar answer plans and adhering to the answering techniques which we have practiced. And if you do, you can easily pass your SCS exam. So always remember, if you are feeling stressed, you can actually practice this at home as well. If you are feeling stressed, focus on your breathing, because that's the only way to switch off your amygdala. If not, you'd experience an adrenaline rush. With an adrenaline rush, you won't take the best type of decisions. You'd try to come up with quick decisions, and once you know that you had screwed up one of the subtasks, then you'd keep thinking about it when attempting the preceding subtasks as well. And another thing to add, if you were clueless about an answer for a certain subtask, or if you feel that you did not do a good job when attempting one of the subtasks, just forget about it and move forward, because you're not supposed to think about the past, because if you keep thinking about the past, you'd only think about what went wrong, and that's not going to help you at the exam. There's absolutely no point of trying to live in the future, because no one in this world can predict the future. Instead, you have to live in the present. So approach each subtask one by one. If you screwed up certain subtasks, simply forget about it, because if you keep thinking about your failures, it will affect the quality of answers you are developing right now. So don't think about what type of questions which can be thrown at you in the future or in the next subtask. Instead, focus on what you are doing right now. So if you do it, if you are disciplined, if you can let go of the past, and if you're not thinking about the future, instead, if you are living in the present, you would come up with high quality answers. So at the exam, even if you screw up any subtask, or if you feel that you did not come up with good answers for a certain subtask, forget about it. Focus on what you are doing right now. And if you are still feeling stressed, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, drink some water, calm your nerves, and keep moving forward, because if you do, you'd end up passing the SCS exam comfortably. All right, so that's what I wanted to say with regards to how to improve confidence and how to maintain the same level of confidence on the day of the exam. So having said that, I'm going to open up for a Q&A session. Let me pause the recording. All right, folks, thank you very much for those questions. I hope I addressed all and you understood what you are intended to achieve at the exam. And, let me remind you about the pass rate which we achieved for November. So we achieved a 94% pass rate, and most of our students got more than 100 marks, especially given the fact that they stuck to our study plan and closer to the exam, since they were relaxed. So if you are yet to start your preparations, there was a student who asked whether you can start preparations right now. Even if you do, I gave you a study plan which was to just focus on your preparations, allocating 6 to 7 hours per day for the upcoming 5 days. So if that is the case, you are approaching the exam in a relaxed mindset. So you have to be, it's of utmost importance that you are relaxed. So if you had already attempted the 5 mocks, simply focus on redeveloping the answer plans as I highlighted earlier. That's the only type of revision you have to be engrossed with in your upcoming days. I cannot highlight how important it is for you to relax in the upcoming days. So please relax and adhere to the guidelines which we provided to generate a positive attitude, and try to maintain the same level of positivity at your examination. If you feel stressed, focus on your breathing, and keep moving forward, because if you do, you are being successful as a senior finance manager. All right. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, or simply email us at info@study@tcs.com, or WhatsApp us on this number. And I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles. The recorded versions of these webinars and workshops are uploaded to the YouTube channel. So go subscribe it. And on top of that, especially follow us on TikTok, because there are 3 videos, which is a good mind map of the entire pre-scene. So you need not remember anything which is highlighted within the pre-scene. We have, highlighted all these points within these 3 TikTok videos. So within 7 to 9 minutes of your time, you can, keep reminding yourself about the most important points highlighted within your pre-scene document. So please make sure to keep watching these TikTok videos in the upcoming days until the day of your exam. So having said that, it brings us to the end of today's session. So we have conducted 4 webinars and 3 workshops. I've gotten in touch with you across 7 weeks on a continuous basis. I hope you gain something out of these sessions, and I wish you all the very best in your upcoming SCS exam. Be confident, stay positive at the exam. If you feel stressed, focus on your breathing, overcome your negativity, and keep moving forward. If you do, you'd become a management accountant. So all the very best, and take care. Be positive.